This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Guka Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. Hello and welcome to Super Connectivity. I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me as always is the blue-eyed bummer from the Bug of Bits.
Hi everyone, it's Phil. Phil me and Perich.
Yes. I was doing the dance. I forgot. I actually had to do the intro this time. Hey, Philip.
Hello, Charlie.
How are you?
Good.
There's a lot to talk about today. A lot to talk about. And one of the things I'd like to talk about is the nounification of the word a lot. As you know, a lot, A-L-O-T, gets a lot of flack for not being a word. Now, obviously, it's a word because people use it, and that's what is the definition of a word is, a word that is used that people understand. But I think it's time we split the difference on a lot and just nounify the word a lot, which means to allot something, to give a portion of something, and to say that to allot, to nounify it as a lot, meaning I have a portion of something, and arguably a large portion of something, is the term we should use. So that's A-L-L-O-T, a lot. And now it's nounified. Use it in your daily language. When someone says, oh, you know, a lot's not a word, you can say, yes, it is. I've nounified a lot, which is part of, which is the verbification of allotment. So allotment is the noun of the verb allot, but we can re-nounify the verb of allot to allot, and now we have a properly grammatical term of art for the word allot. Just double the L, and you're fine in my book. Okay, Philip. And speaking of words and language, I'd like to talk real quick about Conan. They're starting their new arc in Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
Just because, speaking of words and arcs, there's a whole storyline here, which is a story that makes sense, but can also jar some people. So if anyone who's ever read Conan, you know that Conan usually does not have a lot of trouble speaking to people.
No.
That is actually because Conan actually knows a lot of languages. Like, literally knows, 10 languages. Because he's traveled the world, wherever he goes, he learns a language, just like Indiana Jones. But this one actually is making use of the conceit that obviously you couldn't know every language. And so, in not knowing every language, he goes to a little town where he really does not know this language. And they do a lot with this idea of languages nobody is speaking.
Wait, they do what?
They do a lot. That's
okay.
the nounified word.
Word of the day, kids.
A lot, yes. That is your word of the today, kids. It's a lot. And it is a word because we're using it and you know what I mean. And we can make it proper by just adding an extra L. Look for the two L's in the middle for quality.
Bing.
Anyway, so plotline. He goes to the city. Everyone's going gabba gabba hey, gabba 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 hey.
Yeah.
He wins all the contests, which he just thought were like drinking contests or performances for sport. It's like, no. Whoever wins the contest now has to face the crucible of death. Bum, bum, bum. That's the one. And he's all like, what? I thought I was just lifting heavy stuff. And they're like, nope. And there's one guy there that speaks Conan's language, or speaks common, as it were.
Yeah.
And he drags him into the Crucible with him, and he's like, dude, I did not want to go into this. And then you see there's like 6 people in the Crucible now, because they basically, you have some people who are like, no, man, I totally came here to win the Crucible, and other people were like conscripted into it, sentenced to it, yada, yada, yada. Because the idea is that they have this gigantic death trap maze full of riddles and dungeon crawls and all the stuff you love from your classic Dungeons and Dragons games. And it's going to be Conan on a dungeon crawl, and he has to make friends with this party he's thrown together, this group of murder hobos he's just met. Some of them speak a language he doesn't speak, some of them speak languages he does, and he's brought the kid who does speak his language into this to be his translator. They, of course, immediately come across the first set of booby traps, and they realize not everything is what it seems. And then we get to this one where we have Conan and like the Asian girl, looking at the blades. Says the blades cut twice, first your enemy, then yourself. And she says, "Oh, that's like this, term in this ancient text of my culture, yada yada yada." And they say, "Well, we'll both grab them at the same time, and we'll see what happens." And then, oh no, Conan got stabbed by a shadow demon. So that's obviously the end of the story. No way he's coming back from this, right, Phil?
No, of course not.
Of course not. What I love about this book is, again, the religiosity of Crom. And Disney is making a religion. They are making nihilism for you. They have read the entrails of what the kids today are into. Like, I think the kids today are into nihilism. And that is what they're building. And Conan will lead the way. So, really love that. So, that is a lot. And Conan, what's next on the agenda, Philip? Do you want to talk Kang the Conqueror?
Sure.
So, we got... is this confirmed? Is Kang in Loki? Is that's always the stuff with these things? It's like,
yeah, I know.
Someone says it, Illuminati has been saying a lot of stuff lately. And honestly, first off, this is the first I'm meeting Illuminati. I don't know if Illuminati really knows what they're talking about. But dang it if we don't eat it all up. But Illuminati is saying that Kang will be in Loki. Which, of course, feeds into what is the current belief, which is that the Time Variance Authority is going to be central to the Loki story. Now, do we know that?
I don't know, because I mean, they already said it's going to be time travel, but yeah.
Well,
yeah,
did they though?
Yeah, all the
they?
All the CBR article says is, according to Illuminati, the time traveling villain is rumored to appear in Disney Plus.
Yeah. So here's the thing. First off, and this is just if we really want to be honest, we do not know that this show involves time travel.
I thought they confirmed that, didn't it? I thought they didn't confirm that.
No. All we actually confirmed was that the story takes place at other points in time. And they made the point that, yes, he is coming into sort of a gritty New York City, and you see that Jaws is on the marquee of a grindhouse cinema, which tells us that it takes place sometime during the grindhouse heyday of New York City, which honestly was any time before Rudy Giuliani. When you could have a nice seedy theater in the middle of Times Square and go see all kinds of great second run, first run, and third run movies. So that's an aspect of it. So really, we don't know if this is about time travel or that they are trolling us for saying it's about time travel. Now, all that said, given that time travel was key to Avengers Endgame, we can probably assume that time travel will be an aspect of this. And the Time Variance Authority will be a part of this. And Kang and Immortus may show up in this.
No.
And that is where I think it's going to be most interesting. Because what if we get multiple Kangs and multiple Immortuses?
Council, didn't they did like a council like cross time? Was it cross time Kangs or something?
Oh yeah, well there is like a council of Kangs, just like there's a council of Reeds, you know.
Yeah.
There's all these, and that's the idea, is that there's all these because when you have a time travel, they start creating all these alternate universes constantly, and the Time Variance Authority has to try and keep the universes at least from ripping themselves apart.
What if they do the council, because they said they confirmed a couple different actors, Owen Wilson being one of them. What if like Owen Wilson and these other people are like the Council of Kangs? You know, you got Owen Wilson Kang, you got a female Kang, you know.
Oh yeah, well I mean that would be interesting. Or you could just, because my actual thought was that, you know what, Owen Wilson is got the kind of face that he could be a young Kang.
Ooh.
And he could be an old Immortus because he's got that broken nose. So he has an artificially aged face. In the same way that, as we were talking about how Patrick Stewart, you know, went bald at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very easy to cast as an old guy when he was young. Which is why everyone thinks, oh, he hasn't changed a bit. It's like, no, the guy's lived all 78 of his years. It's just that he went bald young, so he played older characters when he was younger. So he's playing a guy in his 40s when he was in his 20s. And now in his 70s, he's playing guys in their 50s, you know?
Yeah, he used to be the smooth bald guy. Now he's the wrinkled bald guy, yeah.
Exactly. So that is, you know, and that is, and I think Owen Wilson can actually fit nicely into that nice little niche. So getting an Immortus, who I think Immortus actually starts the Time Variance Authority. I thought Immortus actually was like the head of the Time Variance Authority, I believe, because he was trying to clean up the messes that he had created as Kang when he sort of had evolved to the higher plane.
I can't remember, but I'm looking it up now.
But even if that's not true, they can write that into it, you know, and that becomes an interesting aspect of it. You know, the idea of Kang, because what I imagine we're going to see is if we do have Loki in a Time Variance Authority jail cell, it is Loki in a Time Variance jail cell breaking out. And of course, who else might be in a Time Variance Authority jail cell to break out?
Who?
Well, Kang, obviously.
Loki.
Oh, you know who could also be in a Time Variance Authority jail cell?
Who?
Black Widow.
Yes.
There's a universe where she lived and Hawkeye died.
They could come get her and arrest her at the end of the Black Widow movie.
That would be awesome. Well, you know, I've often said that part of the story of
somehow she didn't, even if she jumped to the past or something, they could, by the end of the movie, they can come for her and be like, you know what, you're in violation of, you know, section whatever of the Time Variance Code, you know, we got to take you in.
That would be a nice after credit scene. I don't know if they're going to do that. I think they're going a little more serious with Black Widow.
I don't know. I mean, I swear they're keeping that close to the vest because they're not. I mean, I don't think they've come out and said if it's everyone assumes it's a prequel, but they really haven't said, you know. And again, if time travel could be present day Black Widow in the past.
Well, you know, this is the thing. All we ever have is rumors until Marvel officially states something. And, you know, we had this great example of this with, you know, Krasinski and Raimi. And again with Radcliffe now. Radcliffe, of course, had to come out and make this official statement. I am not in consideration for Moon Knight. If I were to get involved, actually, I kind of, sorry guys in Australia, actually kind of stepped a little on Moon Knight when he said, look, if I'm going to do another franchise film, it has to be really good. I don't know if Moon Knight is that project.
Oh, get him right.
Oh, he's getting the anger. But you know what? Although, if you wanted to send people off your scent, that's just the thing to say. See, no, I said if I was going to get involved in a Moon Knight in a franchise, it had to be good. And turns out Moon Knight is good. Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, there you go.
But it goes to how we feed into things. So, you know, Krasinski's been saying, and literally he's the only one saying he's going to do Fantastic Four. It's like, you know, all the people who say they're going to do a Flash movie. And there's nothing confirmed, nothing stated, except that apparently the guy's all thirsty for it. And the problem is that I don't think anyone else is. I mean, you get a lot of people say, no, he'd be great in that, you know.
Do you think?
And it's like,
do you think he's trying to get it out there just so it's like putting it in everyone's mind, you know? Costanza. It's like just like
exactly. Stanza.
If I say it enough, you know,
Krasinski.
If I keep saying it over and over every day, by the time they get to a Fantastic Four movie, who's going to be the first name on everyone's mind?
But you know what? And this is what I'm going to say. When Raimi starts getting rumored,
yes,
suddenly there is not a dissenting voice in the house. Raimi doing Doctor Strange became this thing where it's like, yes, obviously Raimi would do Doctor Strange. If Raimi wants that, that is his to take. And there was not a big fight. There was not a big complaint about why Raimi shouldn't, why Raimi should. There didn't even need to be an argument. It was like, yes, Raimi should. Really, all then what everyone did was they just started saying, oh, you know, he once mentioned something about Doctor Strange in that first Spider-Man series. And that became the story. It's like, well, of course he's going to be. Is he going to tie Spider-Man into Doctor Strange? We already know that, you know, J.K. Simmons came back. So is that our way we know that Sam Raimi is coming back? You know, really, that becomes the story because that's a story everyone wants to hear.
Yes.
In the same way, I think Daniel Radcliffe kind of was a story people wanted to hear. Maybe not everyone, obviously, but there were enough people who were like, I see that, and I really feel that he had to come out and say, I'm really sorry, I'm not even in talks about that, you know? So it's an interesting difference between the way things are. Raimi, everyone loves. Krasinski has to keep on talking about it because no one else is. And that's the thing about Krasinski in the Fantastic Four is if he doesn't talk about it, no one else is going to.
No.
And to be fair, we all know Doctor Strange is coming out. So there's enough buzz about Doctor Strange that Raimi coming in becomes its own self-fulfilling prophecy, I feel. Basically, there's enough talk about it, enough buzz about it, enough positive reviews of it that Disney is going to look at Raimi and say, when it comes time to say, well, you want to do it? What would be your ideas? You know, this is the script we've written. You know, can you work within this? Can you work with where we want Marvel to go? Yeah. And for what it's worth, I think Raimi's the kind of guy that could absolutely work with whatever the strictures were because, you know, he would know the story they're making. I mean, you know, he's going to definitely put a big Bruce Campbell scene in there. Because he can. And it's interesting how that's a little bit different in the way that really it's the fan reaction, I think, that feeds into these things more than, and really for what gets answered and what gets replied to. Because Radcliffe, when he was getting all this buzz, really had to shut it down. Really had to push back, you know, and say, I really don't feel that's where I want to be right now. I'm doing Miracle Workers, and I'm actually quite happy doing that. That's where I want to be with my career right now. So
I never bought Daniel Radcliffe as Moon Knight because, you know, just like thinking hardened mercenary. I don't know. I mean, I maybe you could pull it off.
It's very much against type.
Yeah.
Although it goes into this, I guess, goes into maybe the idea that, and to be fair, maybe he doesn't want to play that, you know, because you know, as Harry Potter, he kind of is the superhero. He kind of does that whole superheroic shtick. And right now, if you watch Miracle Workers, he plays the Nebuchadnezzar guy. He plays the Woody Allen role, and maybe that's where he wants to be right now.
Oh, what if he comes out? He's like, I am in Moon Knight, but I'm not Moon Knight.
Well, you know what? here's what I'll say. I mean, maybe he's the cabbie. I mean, it's, it's, wouldn't that be an interesting take on Moon Knight?
I think we said that before. Yeah, like if they like hire different people to play each personality. Yeah.
Exactly. And that might be interesting. There you go. There's a way to get McAvoy in there.
There you go. I was gonna say, what if the Radcliffe played like his partner / sidekick? Like his Alfred Frenchie.
Oh, you want him to be Frenchie?
Give him the mustache and the French accent. Yeah.
Honestly, he might be all down with that. I could totally see him as Frenchie. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. But one thing I did want to talk about, there have been a lot of rumors about the Black Widow and about who the Taskmaster might be. Yeah. They did recently release like some real, like a full body shot of the Taskmaster, and he is actually taller than people have thought. Because there was this whole theory that Taskmaster was actually, the older woman that was the teacher of the Black Widows. But looking at the way that she's designed, or he's designed, first off, it definitely reads male. And it definitely reads much taller, because that was the argument, was that when you saw them both bending down, they looked about the same height. But really, depending on camera angles and how far away from each other they are, you can't always tell that, honestly, and they're intentionally mimicking each other's movements. So I do think it might. I don't think that theory from Matt Pat is going to bear out. But then again, that could also have just been an intentional misdirect, so that Matt Pat's spoiling of it doesn't feed into it too much.
I think they're going to do a twist on Taskmaster where it's like, in the comics, he's basically like, I was born with this ability. He's basically a mutant, but it's like, I think here he's going to be given this ability, whether it's by the Russians or, hey, what if it's like, Power Broker or somebody, the same guy who gets John Walker gets hold of Taskmaster.
I mean, it's entirely possible.
What if they can give out more than strength? This guy,
Well, yeah. I mean, in the revised origin of Taskmaster, because he does have a revised canonical origin, which is that he's basically given what amounts to a mental super soldier serum.
Yes.
Where he's basically given this thing that allows him to imprint memories instantaneously, including anything he sees, anything he hears. It all becomes imprinted. Now, of course, in that one, we have the downside, which is then all other memories start getting pushed out. He starts to forget who he is. He just becomes the collection of skills he has, which is an interesting take and feeds into an interesting question about, I believe it's Carl Lumley.
Oh, yes.
As the theory that he's Isaiah Bradley.
Yes.
Now, as an interesting take on that, one of the biggest problems with converting Isaiah Bradley into the mainstream 616 is that he is suffering from severe dementia at the end of it. Now, Disney, I don't think, is going to go full on, Muhammad Ali's Parkinson's years with this character. But if we establish this idea of the Taskmaster, that he has a variation on the super soldier serum, one of those other variations that we saw in the Incredible Hulk, we kept on trying to remake this stuff. We kept on working with this stuff. And he has, he's got the strength, he's got the speed, but he also has the photographic reflexes. And what has happened to Isaiah Bradley isn't that he has dementia, but that he does have parts of his memory missing. Because he has that eidetic memory, but it's also his ability to store memories isn't as strong. So he keeps on forgetting things, keeps on forgetting where he is, keeps on forgetting stuff. But he's still actually, a Captain America level hero. And, I do wonder if we are going to get an old man Chris Evans in this, because it does make sense to have those two kind of meet.
Yes.
But whatever happens is going to be kind of interesting. But I think that might be a great way to introduce Isaiah Bradley as a character without having to go really too down on his story, because his story does have a very down story.
Yeah.
And a way to essentially have all the qualities that we've seen, but also explore other ideas and other ways that you could have these problems without them being as devastatingly sad as they are. And of course, the real reason why people say they would bring in Isaiah Bradley is to introduce the Patriot. I'm forgetting his name, the character's name, also Bradley. Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Is that Jeremiah Bradley?
I
think it's Jeremiah Bradley. And because of course we know we have our Cassie Lang. We all assume we're going to be getting Hulkling, and it's been said they're bringing in Hulkling into WandaVision, as well as of course Wiccan, likely. If we get Kate Bishop in Hawkeye.
Oh, Eli Bradley?
Eli Bradley, right? That's right. I think Jeremiah Bradley is the actual stolen sperm from Isaiah Bradley that they then impregnated a person with. There's like a whole storyline. I think that's maybe it's.
Oh, I wonder.
Isaiah X. He's got like a. Yeah, but there is another one. He's part of this other captive breeding program, just to show you how dark it gets sometimes in the Marvel universe.
I mean, if they're going to do Isaiah Bradley, I wonder if instead of strength augmentation, if like some corrupt government official tries to give John Walker like bad super soldier serum, and as Falcon and Winter Soldier trying to track this all down, they meet Isaiah Bradley, and he's like, "Do you think this is the first time the government's cooked up some bad super soldier serum?"
I mean, it could be. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, for what it's worth, arguably, it's all bad super soldier serum.
Yeah.
Because we know how
it only worked once.
Well, no, but I'm trying to remember I'm blanking on the character's name. Blonsky. We know how it affected Blonsky.
Oh yeah.
That, and as the leader said, as Dr. Stern says, I'd like to put this in you, but it looks like there's already a little something in you already, isn't there? And that brings up what I think is one of the most interesting concepts that we have, which is we are getting our She-Hulk.
Yes.
With a possible Red Hulk.
Another rumor, yes, Red Hulk.
Rumor. I think that's Illuminati again. Illuminati, you better, if this stuff is true, you better be up in on that. That's what I'm saying. Because you will not have followers if everything you say is wrong. Because you're putting yourself out there right now, Illuminati, and we love you, and that does sound like a real Disney manufactured name, so you might be a Disney bot account meant to sow the true rumors, because then you get hits, and then you can sell ads,
Maybe they got an inside source.
Anyway, Illuminati, come on our show. We'll happily talk to you.
There you go.
But where was I? So here's a question.
Okay.
For anyone that's watching the last season of Modern Family right now, does Ty Burrell look like he's bulking up? I just saw the last episode. I'm thinking, why is Ty Burrell wearing that bulky sweatshirt? It really starts to look like Ty Burrell has been going to the gym a bit. Maybe in story, but maybe because they're bringing back a Doc Samson along with a Red Hulk. And it struck me, who is the most important character to bring back, and that would be the leader. And as an interesting way to take the leader, you could totally do a leader MODOK hybrid.
Ooh.
If you don't want to go full MODOK,
never go full MODOK.
You'd never go full MODOK. But if you did giant head leader, but his head has gotten so massive, he needs to have like the rocket chair to move him around. I'm just saying.
I like what you're throwing down, Charlie Esser.
I'm saying maybe we can do this MODOK. You know, maybe his chair is called MODOK. You know, it's a mechanical organism designed only for killing. And you could even have a really neat story where he's working for the government as the leader. You know, meanwhile, there's like, I need things to help me move, and da-da-da. And here's what we need next, and here's what we need next. And then it's like, you know, that's his big reveal at the end. Oh, I call this chair MODOK. So because it's a mechanical organism designed only for killing. And now in Iron Man style, remember Iron Man says, "Oh, give me these parts. I need these parts to make this thing, to make what you need." And it's going to be the evil Iron Man of MODOK, the leader hybrid character. And then maybe he's going to like fix himself so he can genetically engineer himself to like not be having to be in the MODOK chair. But we'll get our MODOK for a couple scenes in She-Hulk. And that'll be awesome, along with Red Hulk and Ty Burrell, Doc Samson. And they're going to keep they've said they're going to keep Jen Walters' origin from the books. Cousin of Bruce Banner, is a lawyer, gets the blood transfusion after getting shot. Now, again, my hope is there's a lot of ways you can do this, a lot of interesting ways you can do this. One way is, like I say, if you actually go with the marriage story of the Incredible Hulk, where she actually has a degenerative neurological disorder, and maybe Bruce is working on a cure using his Professor Hulk blood. You know, he's like, I don't want to try this yet. And then she gets shot, and now he has to do it. He has to give her that healing factor. The other options, you know, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can do it. And that would be a really interesting take on it. The other option is just that, you know, he is working on Hulk blood, trying to figure out a way to help everyone. And then when she gets shot, it's like, maybe I finally fix this where it's not going to Hulk you out. And then, of course, it does. But she's going to be She-Hulk, which is cool.
Or like you're saying, maybe she's dying of something and he's like the last remaining blood relative or something.
Anything is possible. And honestly, within the whole concept, the idea of the leader manipulating, especially Leader MODOK, manipulating everything, just setting all the pieces in place. So we're going to have our Red Hulk. We're going to have our Doc Samson. So first we'll introduce Doc Samson. And it's going to be Ty Burrell coming as, hey, you're Jennifer Walters. I've heard a lot about you.
Oh, but I mean, we're talking about Black Widow end credit scene. If Ross is in Black Widow, are we going to see him get an end credit scene of Ross becoming Red Hulk?
That would be interesting. That would be very interesting, I think. Yeah.
He's like, if I can't get big.
Yeah, I mean, really, let's fix it. There is so much that's good at Marvel right now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so.
DC is kicking themselves not having an extended universe. That's all I'm saying. What are they doing over there, Philip?
That on Capes and Lunatics.
What are they doing? I know. Scroll down. What did the screensaver start? That's okay. But yeah, I mean that's that. A couple other quick items.
I don't know if that's going to be in real continuity because from what I heard, the Batman I'm hearing Batman Catwoman series is going to be 12 issues, and it's going to be like their whole relationship from the day they met until probably one of their deaths or what. You know, it's going to be from the past.
They already did that.
I know, but I don't know if it's going to be
like 2 years
more
ago.
fleshed out version of that. I know, but again,
we already read the story. We know how it ends.
If that's true or not.
I want Damien to have a little baby brother or sister. I want Damien to have a sibling. And I want that lovely tension between, I want Damien to say, I was under the impression I was going to be an only child.
Oh, you come from the inferior stock. I see.
Well, hey, at least he loved his mama. Oh, gonna dab on you. No, because it's a babies, and they don't have an excuse to age up the baby. But I like the idea of Catwoman and Bruce having a baby. It would be awesome, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. Hey, you want to talk Fantastic Four or Captain America
Let's
next?
talk Captain America. Oh, we can talk Fantastic Four also, but I want to let's hit Daredevil also before we get out of here.
If you insist.
Okay.
I mean, it's okay. I don't know, man. It's a little, it's a little mustache twirly for my taste, but anyway. And nothing against it. Nothing against it. I mean, I enjoyed it as a book. It has. I mean, Daredevil. I thought was well characterized. I think they're trying to bring him back to like a kinder, gentler Daredevil. You know, it's not like he has to beat everyone with his fists every 2 seconds. You know. Well, at least for one more day, Philip. See, the other reason we got to get to Daredevil, but so okay, Agatha Harkness is alive again, and I guess I'm okay with that. All things being equal. But like literally the last time we saw her, she was a Force ghost.
It's all magic, Charlie Esser.
You know,
Agatha Harkness is back. Young Peggy Carter's back.
I know. Yeah, and that's the other thing. So they had an in for a Peggy Carter is back that they seem to be completely ignoring.
The alternate. Well, I don't know. Do you think is Ta-Nehisi doing it this way because he wants it to be the Peggy Carter who had history with Steve Rogers?
Oh, that's a cheap cop out on his part. Quite frankly, I thought he was a better writer than that. Maybe not. Yeah, I'll throw down at you, Ta-Nehisi. Just because I like your writing doesn't mean that I'm going to give you just a free pass because you ignored really. I mean, okay, granted, I'm going to give you this. You kept Peggy Carter in Virginia, so that's a nice thing there. We had a nice incorporation of the Night Witches in there. That's good. Sort of a nice Black Widow training Peggy Carter. You know, in certain ways, it's a bit magic-y for my taste. And granted, it's like cosmic cubey magic-y. But I do think that you need to have those like lines between cosmic cubes and, you know, magic. I think that you have to say, this is a cosmic cube. And yes, they both pull from extra-dimensional energies, but that the rules are different. Like an Infinity Stone, you can use magic with an Infinity Stone, but an Infinity Stone isn't magic. You don't have to be magic to use an Infinity Stone. You don't have to be magic
for the
to use
most part, I enjoyed this issue, but it just seemed like a giant retcon issue because it's like, yeah, Agatha Harkness is alive again. Yeah, Peggy Carter's back and she's young again. And oh, hey, just for the hell of it, Alexander Lukin is back. And guess who's in his head again? Yeah.
Although that they already established that, so I was cool with them bringing back Lukin, and of course, obviously, the Red Skull is going to come back with him. You know, and again, fun fact: this is a different Red Skull than the Red Skull that Cap just killed, because that was a clone Red Skull with Red Skull's 1940s memories. This was the Red Skull that had lived his entire life. The one that was living in
Steve Rogers' body, and then after. Yeah, he got kind of assassinated, so he used the cube to jump into Lukin's head.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not like I said. I'm not going to say it's a bad book. It's a fine book. If I wasn't already invested in other versions of these characters, the fact that my nerd theory was wrong probably might not bother me as much. Although I gotta say, and for what it's worth, I'll give this. There is not necessarily the fact that I was wrong, except for that obviously the Exiles Peggy Carter, who is in this universe, is definitely British. And this one is definitely the original classic Virginia.
Having their cake with it too, Charlie Esser.
Carter. Yeah. You know, and they have that, you fell in love with a African-American guy and, society says you can't be with him, which is fair. Although then again, is Peggy Carter the kind of woman that's going to tell you, going to accept that? Oh, I'm not going to do this because my country says it's wrong. No, I'm going to do what I want. Although if they want to follow that thought thread, fun fact: if they had gone to England, they could have been together. In Europe, it was a much different world. And it's entirely possible that, okay, so they're together in England. She gets the super soldier serum. She becomes Captain Britain. I mean, anything is possible in this. They may turn it all back around on the other side. But like I said, I really wanted it to be one thing. And that there's not really a good explanation for it, except that, they needed me to come back, so I came back. It's like... That is, first off, that sounds like literally, it's like the writer needed me to be in this story as a young woman, so I'm back as a young woman. Literally, that is exactly what she said. And it's like, that is some lazy writing.
He's not complaining either.
Well, except, like I said, they already had one. Because this isn't even MCU Peggy Carter. This is 616 Peggy Carter. And it's like, okay, sure.
But hey, remember when we reunited these wacky kids at the end of Avengers Endgame? Hey, look, we're doing it here too. He's young.
Yeah, and I guess, and within the long story of it all, it's like, oh, but, they like to say, the reason Sharon looks so old, because, of course, it was only 12 years, she's 42, is because... They stole a bit of her soul, because apparently souls are now discrete quantities that you can
Master Pandemonium.
Cut up, But as it turned out, that wasn't even Master Pandemonium's soul. That was bits of Mephisto's soul. So it was really just the power of Mephisto's energy that he was trying to track down, because Franklin Richards is such a BA. He shattered the essence of Mephisto. The big bad of the entire Marvel universe right now, who's doing his pulling of strings. Franklin Richards just like,
that's your new drop, Charlie Esser. Franklin Richards is such a BA.
He is a BA. He is the BA of the Marvel universe. That is like really the entire story of the Marvel universe since his birth has been, this kid is going to be crazy powerful. And, we get a bit of that in Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Number 19, Point of Origin Conclusion. By the way, I love how they start this episode with the whole pipeline protest and drilling protest and Wyatt Wingfoot. And like the tribal elders being like, oh, God's him. Which I also get that would be a real thing about like Mr. Wonderful showing up, and it's like, Mr. Best Friend of Johnny Storm, and then we get like the Moloids attacking, and they're obviously Moloids attacking. But that comes back at the end, and no spoilers till the end. And then we flash forward to, of course, the Fantastic Four. And just how totally xenophobic everyone is here. And again, man, there's this quality here. Because my theory on the magic of the formula. Because after the whole big fight, they come back to, oh, what if the Future Foundation's formula could work for the other monsters? And, of course, interestingly enough, they don't give them the formula at all. They do something completely different. Did you catch that? You see that they're putting them in like a chamber? It's not like they're giving them a potion to drink. They're like returning them to their normal original shapes via this. And I think that there is something going on there. We get some nice flashbacks. Flashbacks to Earth. Alicia is out with Shecky, at a big gallery opening where we see all of Alicia's amazing. This woman works a lot of artwork. I don't know, man. That she's a lot of work. And then we also see that, obviously, we got. I'm trying to figure out everyone in this picture. We've got Valeria and Franklin and Devil Dinosaur and obviously Moon Girl. And, then we get back to, it's like, I think that formula they give Ben is a placebo.
Yeah, but I thought, didn't they
cure.
say to them, didn't Ben even tell them, oh yeah, it works, but only for like 1 day a year or something? Yeah.
Well, that's what he told them. And then they left.
Unless
after
the overseer's going to refine it, because that fight ended pretty abruptly, didn't it? It's like, I hate you. Hey, wait a minute. If we put our heads together, we could solve some stuff.
Well, yeah, and I think so. This is where it comes into the whole shtick. See, the idea of being human is attractive, and this is the entire raison d'etre of Ben Grimm. He wants to be human, but it's so hard to walk away from power. And if you switch back and forth too much, you're going to have a Banner Hulk situation, which, anyone that's reading the Hulk knows how bad that gets right now.
And like and this one guy was laying the guilt trip on Ben. He's like, oh, you were telling us, don't judge, people shouldn't judge us for our looks, but you're the one trying to cure yourself so you're such a hypocrite. Ben's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, and fair enough. And he is, because, well, you know what it is he is trying to cure himself, but he doesn't, it's like, that's the thing.
That is the thing, Charlie, after Ben Grimm, yes.
Mental block. But it is his mental blocks. And I wonder if they're going to reveal that. I don't know if they're going to let them, because that is, if you actually ever put that finer point on it, because Byrne tried to do that. That Ben could switch back and forth. And then when Byrne was done, they said, make him the Thing again. And every so often they'll let Ben do it again, and then, then they'll kill it again.
And do you think part of it too, the whole mental block, is just him? He's like, he's afraid that if he gets cured, it's going to be a full cure, that he's not going to be able to transform at will, or it'll be like, yeah, he's completely human again, boom. And it's like, if I lose my power, I'm not going to really be in the field with the team, and and
I think it's a lot of
if someone
things.
gets killed, it's going to be my fault, so I wasn't there.
There's every number of ways to discuss it. In fact, the first time he gets turned into human, and Reed has to turn him back into the Thing. And this is when they're fighting the Dr. Doom, and Doom, of course, turns him back human because he takes all their powers. And, Reed's like, well, I need you to be strong for us again. It's like, well, what if I don't want to? It's like, too bad, you should do it. He's like, okay, I'll do it. He goes right back to being the
just
Thing.
Like in the 90s when Sharon Ventura was with the team. Remember that Doom had Sharon Ventura? Ben was cured. He was having no relapses, but he bombarded himself again to go save Sharon.
Yeah. Well, he always does. And to be fair, the Hulk does it too. Banner has cured himself dozens of times. And then you don't want to not be the monster, because there's so much strength in the monster. Interesting note is Johnny's soulmate.
Yeah, she
goes back to Earth
with him. But yeah, she goes back with the team. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because that's her soulmate. And for what it's worth, this is what she's been raised on. And she wants to get off her, not for nothing, crazy xenophobic planet. I could see, hey, you know what? If I marry this schmuck, I get off of this planet. Let me go stick with the schmuck. Even if he's not the guy I want to be, I can take off these bands once we get into that
So
Earth.
Johnny Storm has a type, extraterrestrial. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Johnny
yeah,
Storm
female and breathing. Female and breathing. Yeah, that's
you know what? Yeah, he wants someone who says yes, and then until he gets tired of them, and then he's like, no. And it's Johnny Storm. But that's our great reveal at the end, is the Moloids are actually hanging out with the tribe now. they're both mad at Roxxon for breaking up the thing, and the Mole Man's all mad about them stealing Moloids. But these are apparently, again, hyper-evolved Moloids, because you can't keep a good Moloid down. And that is the moral of that story. Okay, let's talk Daredevil. And One More Day, because that ties in.
I think you were onto something with the colors. Remember, you're talking about the changing colors in the stories, but I don't think it wasn't. Again, it wasn't nuke pills. It was just, I think they were trying to, because even like he went from the Daredevil suit, he went to that black suit, but now look, he's wearing white.
He's all white. He's like
purifying him. You know, again, it's like they're trying to make it like a kinder, gentler Daredevil. Because even when they're, when the kid gets taken hostage, and he's like, yeah, this guy's no killer. He's not going to kill that kid.
Yeah. But we do have One More Day coming. And we do know that Mephisto is a part of whatever is going on in the Marvel Universe right now. That whatever they're going to do, it's something to do with Mephisto. And when we look at... Because, for example, what we see in that is like... We see Daredevil in like the fighter's garb, like he's fighting his dad's fight. What if his dad doesn't die in the ring or something like that, or doesn't get killed afterwards? What is Mephisto going to grant him? And I was thinking one thing that could be interesting for that is this idea of, we know that Mephisto recently made a deal with Otto to put Otto back to his base form. And to rid him of all that unwanted Parker nonsense, those Parker memories that were interfering with his ability to be a proper villain. But we also see within that there was a quality to him that was still heroic, that wanted to be the hero, as much as he's fighting it. And it's interesting because to put that in there, first off, I think we could go for a real awesome white suit Otto, doing a Sandman turn on us, where he's like, I am above you petty villains. Villainy is merely a means to an end. I am a scientist, yada, yada, yada. And I want to help mankind, not destroy them the way that you villains do. And I could see him maybe even seeking out other heroes. And that gives an in for Mephisto. Because, of course, he can say, oh, yes, I've lost things too to Daredevil if they ever meet, and because Daredevil's right now, he's like, oh, I can't do these things I used to, I can't do those things I used to. Well, there are ways to put yourself back to where you were, and maybe this ties into what Ta-Nehisi Coates is doing and this new no rules magic that we're going to see in the Strange Academy. That magic has no rules. Magic is everywhere now. Magic is just coming out of everyone's pores. So suddenly, this is the time for Mephisto.
Or, I know a lot of people were mad that Spider-Man actually made a deal with the devil in his One More Day. What if, like, Mephisto's tempting Matt Murdock with something, and eventually Matt Murdock's like, no, that's okay.
Oh, well, but then you kind of lose the thread. Although, to be fair, if Mephisto was going to tempt Matt Murdock, he wouldn't appear as the devil. He would appear.
Well, Matt Murdock has met Mephisto before.
I know, but here's the idea: like, if you send a guy like Otto in, and I'm going to tie Otto into this, no matter what you try to do to stop me. I'm going to tie Otto into this. So let's say you have Otto, who is now in his kind of anti-hero role. It's Otto the anti-hero. I'm going to do good because I'm a good person. Even though the world does not appreciate my goodness, I'm still going to be that better person that I was, because Mephisto said I'd let you keep your better half. And you're still going to reject everyone because you're a pathetic schmuck. Because Mephisto knows who Otto is. Because even as trying to be good, he was a pathetic schmuck. And then if you get him to reject all of his friends and that of course is just because he couldn't comprehend that people could like him looking as he did. Kind of, going into that whole what makes you a monster kind of question. And he says, no, I'm a monster now. You must hate me.
Yeah.
It's like, Marconi's sitting there like, dude, you love me even though I'm not 6'2". What are you talking about? Like everyone was like, no, you always look behind, none of us are supermodels and you showed us love. It's like, yes, but you only loved me because I was beautiful. It's like, literally not the case, but he can't deal with honesty. And I think that's truth. That's the truth about it. Was like when people are too honest, it really scares him. Because he never had a good example of love in his life as a child. But I think that he has enough goodness in him now that he could convince Matt that it's better this way. It's better to utilize these forces. It's like, well, they say they're good and evil. But what is good and what is evil? You punch people all the time. Punching people is technically evil. But some people really need to be punched. I wonder if he's going to try and save his dad, though. Because the boxing metaphor makes me wonder: are they going to do a flashpoint on us?
Maybe. Or he's got a couple. I mean, Karen Page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, actually, that would be the interesting thing about if he brings his father back, because he had already lost his sight when his father died, and so he was already a superhuman. But, of course, if his father was alive, maybe he's not going to like him hanging out with Stick, and how he's going to approach things is going to be a little different. He's not going to have that hatred of a guy like Kingpin.
What if it's the temptation? What if he's like, Mephisto's like, I'll let you bring back one person, but, you got to decide between your dead father, your dead girlfriend,
Yeah, well, honestly. I mean, you can bring back Karen Page. She's in the Netflix show, but
she's Bullseye kind of put a billy club through her chest.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Bullseye puts kills a lot of his girlfriends. So it's like, and Elektra's already back. So it's like, I don't know, maybe if I just wait a while, Karen Page might show up.
You can modify whatever Gwen Stacy clones. So.
But yeah, back to the actual book. So apparently the owl has kidnapped the granddaughter of the other mob boss in Hell's Kitchen. And honestly, I do not understand any of this. Like, why the cops don't go to Hell's Kitchen. First off, Port Authority is in Hell's Kitchen. You have millions of tourists and commuters going through Hell's Kitchen every freaking day.
Was it Mayor Wilson Fisk told the cops to lay off Hell's Kitchen?
Yes, I understand that. I don't understand why. It's like, it's one of these things where it's like, it's almost like the people writing these comic books don't live in New York, and they know what Hell's Kitchen sounds like to someone not from the area. But it's like, it's sort of like the Bermuda Triangle, where like if you actually talk to anyone, it's like, no, actually, it's a very heavily trafficked area. Yeah, boats go missing there, but that's because a lot of things, travel through there, and so some of them are going to go missing. And Hell's Kitchen, it was at one point, don't get me wrong, it was at one point kind of seemed to be like, so it was the Bowery, and that's where all those unspeakable Irish lived. To give you a sense of where all of this comes from. But by this point in history, that's not what Hell's Kitchen is. Notably, Matt Murdock, Irish lawyer, lives there with a lot of other white hipsters.
Yeah, but I think the
Foggy and
I think those rich people, the Stromwinds or whatever, wanted Old Fist to do this too, because I don't know if they want Hell's Kitchen, the bird in the ground, so they can buy it for pennies on the dollar or whatever.
I don't know. Didn't they already do that in like the first season of Daredevil? Yeah, exactly. It's like I said, it's a little mustache twirly, the whole concept, and I didn't like the Rhino being in the team with Crossbones. Because first off, he's over in Mary Jane right now. Maybe that's a different Rhino. I don't know. But I'm like, Rhino doesn't hang with Nazis. He hangs with mobsters. He's not going to hang with Nazis.
He's written so, one guy will write him really honorable. Someone else is just like, oh yeah, he'll do anything for money. The suit.
Well, he will do anything for money. It's like I said, I don't mind him doing anything for money, but it's like when the Joker and the Red Skull meet. At a certain point, the Joker's like, hey,
it's a different Rhino because the suit looks different because this one's like covering his eyes and like.
Yeah. There is another Rhino. I know that because there was the one with the robot armor too. Because they started that in the Ultimate Universe and then they brought it into the regular one.
Honestly, it's a suit. You could put anybody in there.
Anyone could be a Rhino, yeah. But yeah, and just I don't know. It just the Strom winds coming in to, I guess, throw a couple of vigilantes running through. They do know the Avengers live in New York City, right? I know they think they're fighting Daredevil, but it's not like Reed Richards is going to go, huh? Well, there's a bunch of people getting hurt. I guess I should probably go put them in a 0-point energy bubble so that they can't do that anymore. Okay, well that problem's solved.
That's the weird thing, though. It's like the Avengers and the Fantastic Four don't show up for stuff like this. I don't know if it's just like they're like, oh yeah, Daredevil and Spider-Man have this,
Well, even still, Spider-Man's not. Well, technically, he's in Queens, and to be fair, Queens is very far from Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen is on the west side. Queens is actually over across the bridge.
And I think
so. But Ms. Marvel's just over in Jersey City. She could be in Hell's Kitchen.
But I just
5
think
seconds.
people like the Strom winds and all the Fisk thinks, oh yeah, I can handle Daredevil and Spider-Man. I've been doing it for years.
Well, yeah, they all do. But okay. But like I said, it's like. Okay, first off, you're bringing in, how about we get this Crossbones fellow? He doesn't have any notable superheroes who are his arch nemesis, do he? Well, just that Captain America fellow. Well, he won't show up, and he doesn't know anyone that's... Say, well, let's get a Rhino. Does he have any notable superheroes in New York City who might show up?
That's what gets me. It's like, you can never do an Acts of Vengeance anymore because it, like, no villain is, like, anyone's personal property anymore. It's just like everyone fights anybody. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, they kind of they as they say, ruptured the raspberry with Acts of Vengeance, and it's a different situation now. But that said, still, it's hard to think that the Strom winds, and granted, you can make a very solid argument. Well, the Fantastic Four technically are off on another planet right now, and technically right now, Captain America's got his own problems, and there's a lot of other stuff going on. So, fair enough on all that, but still, the idea that, we'll send in like 5 supervillains to smash up, granted, like only 6 city blocks, but still, the idea that that's going to be enough, it just seems short-sighted, especially when you ask, what is the end game? Because the last I knew, they were trying to, like, do legalized pot. Like, how does this help legalize pot? I don't know you have to know what the villain's, like, master plan is. And it should have something to do. And, and them like to, Fisk, you're not strong anymore. You're all weak and soft. It's like, he did just kill a guy in your bathroom the other day. I don't know if you really want to push this.
That's going to be the thing, though. I think eventually he's going to kill them or something.
No, he's just going to call up Bullseye because they have Bullseye on their team.
Yeah, boy.
Kingpin's like main dude.
Yeah, they're calling it out right now. Bullseye's on the team. Be like, yeah, whack him.
Yeah. Hey, Poindexter. Yeah, could you do me a favor? Yeah. If you want, kill the team you're on. But if not, could you just sneak away and kill these 2 people for me? I would greatly appreciate. I'd consider it a personal favor.
Yeah.
I'll make it
You know,
very
we'll
much
get to
worth
see
your
where
while.
he
when
kills
you're
him with a couple number 2 pencils or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, paperclip. Just whatever he's got on hand. Just to make it fun. Make it fun for everyone. Mysterio told him to carry a gun for that. It's like, do I have to use a gun? Cramping my style. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, all in all, it's good. Of course, we have the other son of the head of the Liberus crime family get shot. Of course, she already has a granddaughter, so it's like, well, my line's safe. Yeah, I'm mad you killed my son, but I got a granddaughter that can be the new queen of the mob in Hell's Kitchen. So, yeah, you kind of missed your boat on this one. And really, Owlsley, it's like, and again, like, what's the consistency with Owlsley? Now he's in his arboretum tending his flowers again. I've said this before. Like, sometimes they're like, I'm the rootin' tootin' owl arg, and I don't know. And now he's like all fancy because like he used to be Daredevil's Penguin, and then they started writing him with like just being an idiot and all, and again in the same arc, organization of stories. So I guess he's back to being the Penguin.
He's got
Daredevil's
a chemical
Penguin
imbalance.
again, so clearly. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, but I mean, it's not the worst story I read this week. Well, actually, I was. Here's what I'll say: as mad as I am at Tanahashi about just writer wanted me to be here and young. That's why I am. Don't ask questions.
Magic. Because basically.
Magic. Yeah, but even if you say I'm here because of magic, I want you to say Agatha Harkness brought me back, or even, and maybe we're going to reveal this later, but it's that idea. I'm here because I was needed here, because the veil is thin now, because people are coming back and forth, and and Agatha's not even here; she's a Force ghost. It's like stuff like that. Like, actually, no, I'm not here. I'm just a Force ghost. Sort of like Last Jedi kind of thing, or whatever that was. Yeah, was it? Yeah, that was Last Jedi, where Luke is back and you think he's there, but he's actually just a Force ghost. He was a Force ghost the whole time. See, I can buy that. And again, with Agatha Harkness, that makes sense because she's a Force ghost. So, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I'm not even plugged in. Okay. Yep, no one plugged me in. Okay, 1 second here. There we go. We're back.
Hello.
Hey, Philip. You want to wrap it up now, or is there anything else you want to talk about this week? We're good. Okay, so Philip, how can people find
if you want to get a hold of me personally, you can always email me nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And remember to follow the Capes and Lunatics on social media. I can find all that at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. The voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-Capes. And support the sponsors, Tweaked Audio, Pod Life the Book, Hunter Killer, and use the Amazon link for Southgate Media Group. You can find that right in the show notes.
Yes, you can. And then we get a nickel, and you don't have
we
to
get
spend
nothing,
a
but
dime.
it goes to Rob to help put the show up.
Well, don't make them think we're being exploited, Philip. You don't want people to think of Rob as a grubby capitalist. You want them to think. I know we sure do love working for you, Mr. Rob.
And
That's all I gotta say.
I've had conversations with Rob. If enough money comes in, he's willing to share the profits.
Yes. Well, Let's not worry about that right now. And if you would like to talk about the declining of late-stage capitalism with me, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned emo way where our Maz and Paz once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet many a political debate. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if it ever comes back. Some other show that I feel like watching at some random point. At Charlie Esser, that's CHARLI. Yes, SER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
Bing.
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for connecting with us once again this lovely, lovely week. Why don't you come on back and super connect with us again?
Good night.
Good night. Gute Nacht. Schlafen Sie gut.
It's like magic.
Yes. Tristan heard me say Maz. Maz and Buzz. Yeah, no, Maz isn't on tonight. It's just that we have a recording of him. I always say thank you, Maz, when we play his recording. Maz always knows just the thing to say.
Thank God for Maz.